guys in just a few minutes. And it wasn't pulling up for some reason, but I think it will work. So today we are going to discuss letter from Birmingham jail, and some of the rhetorical devices that Martin Luther King Jr. used. And we're actually going to do a little bit of comparing and contrasting not really comparing, I guess a little compare and contrast, but also just looking at his response to the letter from the clergyman. Because as you may know, or you may not, depending on how far you are in the lessons, his letter from Birmingham jail was actually in response to something written by a few white clergymen. So we'll look at that, and we'll also look at the letter. Okay, no worries. So I asked at the beginning how many of you guys read already Letter from Birmingham Jail, just because that is what we're going to talk about. And in order to kind of look at the response and understand the rhetorical techniques that he does use, you have to have read at least some of the letter. So I'm going to make sure to leave you guys enough time to at least read kind of the first paragraph or two of the letter, just so you can get an idea of his technique and his message in that particular letter. So obviously you're going to have to read it in its entirety later on, but today we won't do that because it is pretty lengthy. So just keep that in mind. Hi. So let's get started. And I'm going to actually move through the first parts fairly quickly. I'm not going to have you guys define the words in your own word, the course definitions in your own words, because we need to move forward in order to give you some time to look at that letter. So just a couple of announcements. Keeping up in the course, crucial this time of year. So keep that in mind. Was it last week? Yeah. Last week we had some time off, so we didn't have Class Connect. Keep in mind that you need to stay the duration of the class in order to get attendance, which you guys have no problem with that. Oh, who's on the mic? I swear I muted the mic. All right, I'm going to unmute all and then mute all again. So weird. Just you guys keep in mind that you can't be in two sessions at one time. So so if you are, please exit out of one of your sessions. You can't be in two at once. Any questions before we get started in the objectives? All right. Again, we're going to discuss the letter and King's word choice and persuasive techniques, which are just superb. All right. Again, we're going to skip over that. I'm going to give you guys the definitions here, the course definitions. So if you want to take a screenshot of these, please do so. You will. I'm actually, if you want to pull up the letter in your book, you can. I will also send you a link to the PDF version of it. So if you don't want to go into the course right now, you don't have to, but you can. Okay, and I'm going to send that to you in just a minute. All right, so we have allusion, imagery, source, persuade, author's purpose, and direct address. We see allusion, imagery, and direct address. These are all rhetorical devices. We see those in uh, the letter the letter from Birmingham jail. All right. What in the world? All right, I guess I'm gonna have to do this again. Check your mics, you guys. Make sure they're off. Okay, so rhetorical devices are very much like literary devices. They go hand in hand. The only difference is that literary devices have to do with like the written word. And usually when people say rhetorical devices, they are referring to a device used to persuade. And that can be from any type of literature to speech and visual as well. Whereas literary devices is just written devices, written text. For rhetorical devices, most commonly, a lot of people will use literary devices and rhetorical devices like interchangeably. They may call something a rhetorical device um, and it be a literary device. Yeah, yeah, I would say so. Yeah. No, not really about how it's used. It's just most commonly used in persuasive speaking or writing. And that's usually what people mean when they say rhetorical device. However, it can be used in other type of writing or speech um, or visual. Right. So illusion can be both a literary device and a rhetorical device. Exactly. Right. Good question. So, just a couple of examples. MLK uses repetition, parallel structure, um, rhetorical questions, and so forth as rhetorical devices in his letter. Some allusions that he uses come from American history, such as the Boston Tea Party, the American Revolution. He uses a direct address when he directly names the clergyman. He speaks directly to the clergyman. All righty, moving on. If you guys don't have any other questions. So a little bit of background. MLK Jr. was arrested on April 12th, 1963 in Birmingham, Alabama by Bull Connor, the public safety commissioner, for parading without a permit and for defying a state order banning demonstrations. The same day that he was arrested, a letter signed by 8 white ministers from Birmingham and titled "A Call for Unity" was printed in the Birmingham News. The letter called for an end to protest and demonstrations for civil rights in Birmingham, and Martin Luther King spent 8 days in jail in Birmingham. He responded to a call for unity with his own call, which has become which has come to be known as his letter from Birmingham jail. All right, so we're gonna do a little pre-reading activity. Not really an activity, it's a video. Um, and it's about 4.5 minutes long. So I'm gonna jump off the camera and let you guys see. That was pretty powerful, huh, guys? That visual, right? All right. So that was the video. Now we're going to look at the letters. You have a little bit, some quotes at the end there from the letter directly, which was a very good intro to what you will expect as you read it. Yes. So now I want you guys to take a moment and read the letter from the white clergyman. I'm going to paste the link in the chat box, and then I think I'll also pull it up on the screen. So I'm not sure how small it's going to be for those who are visually impaired like myself. You may want, because the letters are pretty small, you may want to pull it up on another screen. So here we go. Let me know if you guys are able to click on that and view it. Blocked. Oh no. Okay. Hold on. Let me see if I can send it a different way. Okay, try that. Okay, perfect. All right, so you'll see on the left-hand side of that PDF is the statement from the 8 Alabama clergymen. So just take a couple of minutes and read through that portion right there. The left side where it says public statement by 8 Alabama clergymen, starting with April 12th. Yep, okay. All right, are we done? Okay. So if you're at the grocery store, just know that some of your classmates can hear you. So make sure your mic is muted. Oh, okay. Okay, let's see. All right. I can't hear you, but some people can, and I have everyone muted, but apparently yours is grayed out, so I am not able to specifically uh, mute you. So let me unmute again and then try muting everyone again. Hopefully that works. It's not your fault. Because it says that you are muted, but apparently maybe it's a mobile thing. It's still coming through. You might have to like mute it on your own particular device, like on your phone. Mute your mic on your phone. Possibly. Okay. Yay. Well, at least it was just about fruit. Who doesn't love a good fruit? Right, exactly. At least you're being healthy over there. Okay. So that was great. That was a nice break from the serious topic. All right. So what do you guys think? What is the main idea, or what main idea are the undersigned ministers expressing in this letter? Talk to me. We're going to have to use the chat. So because of this glitchy thing, if I'm afraid if I unmute you guys again, then it's going to start acting ridiculous. So let's use the chat for now. Okay. Patience. They aren't actually against civil rights. They mean well. Okay. What else? Good. Okay. They believe that the protests should not continue because they aren't peaceful. What else? No worries. Let me close that. Good, yeah. So they believe that the demonstrators' actions are causing violence, though indirectly. And so, for the good of everyone, they need to put aside for more peaceful ways of achieving civil rights. Um, let's see. Yes, indeed. So the protesters are the ones who are being peaceful. The counter protesters were the ones that were actually being violent. Right. So they're like, your protesters are causing other people to be violent. So we're having civil unrest in our city. Right, exactly. Their actions are leading to unrest. One other main idea from this letter was the fact that they wanted outsiders, people that were not actually from Birmingham, to leave and let local people deal with the issues in Birmingham. Right. Okay, so what about the next one? Who was the audience for the ideas expressed in this letter? Who do you guys think the audience is or was? Okay, the protesters on both sides. What do you think? Yeah, I believe so. So, who do you guys, or why was it called a letter, even though it was published in a newspaper? Yeah, definitely. So, right. Well, not Martin Luther King's letter, but the letter from the clergyman. But yes, that is a good point too. For King's letter, definitely a letter because he was writing directly to those clergymen as well. So yes. So both sides, both quote unquote letters were directly written to a specific group of people. So yes. Thank you. All right, last one. King's response letter was written in the margins of old newspapers that had to be smuggled out of his jail cell in segments by his lawyers. Why didn't King simply write his letter and send it to the Birmingham News? What do you guys think? Ooh, good point. So he didn't want his letter tampered? with by the Birmingham News. So the question was, why do you think he wrote his letter, or wrote his letter in the margins of old newspapers and had them smuggled out of his jail cell instead of writing directly to the Birmingham News, that newspaper? Good, okay. It wouldn't be allowed because of bias. Yeah. Ooh, that's a good one. Didn't want to be held in jail for longer. Get in trouble. He wanted to make sure the letter actually got out. Someone might destroy it and say they lost it or something. Yeah, absolutely, because the policemen were in fact white men, so that could definitely have happened. There was a high chance of that happening. No one was there to help him. Yes, absolutely. All right. Okay. Yes, definitely risky. um, all right. So we are going to take a moment, go into our breakout rooms. I want you guys to read, just maybe the first couple of paragraphs, that first page on the right side where it says letter from Birmingham jail. And then, my dear fellow clergymen, that first page right there. So take a couple of minutes and read through that. And then as a group, I want you guys to discuss amongst each other the questions that will appear on the board. Okay, so you'll see these in your breakout rooms. All right, so any questions, concerns? Then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit more. All right, I'm going to move you in just a second. All right, guys, welcome back. Hopefully, you guys were able to read at least the first couple of paragraphs and discuss at least the first couple of questions. So tell me what y'all think. Hello, hello. So question number one. Oh, here we go. Let me unmute and then mute them all. All right, so the first one, what do you guys think about just and unjust laws? Oh, that's okay. If you were able to answer it without pulling up the letter, then that's all right. Or if you've already read it, you didn't have to go through and read it again if you didn't need to. Right. So how does King define just and unjust laws in the letter? Sure, go for it, Anna. I will unmute and you can get on.
Um, can you hear me? I'll plug in my microphone if that's okay. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay, so like Carter said, he said that Martin Luther King said that a just law squares with the moral law or the law of God. He also says that any law that degrades human personality or distorts it is unjust, and one that upholds human personality is just. He also argues that because the African American population didn't have the ability to vote, the segregation laws are not democratic.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. That was a really great definition. And thank you, Carter, for posting those quotes there. Right on the money for addressing how he defines just and unjust. And hopefully, you guys talked about whether you agree or disagree with his reasoning amongst each other. So, I'm going to read this out loud for those who will watch the recording later. A just law complies with the laws of God versus an unjust one is out of harmony with the moral law. And then taken from page 43, an individual who breaks a law that conscience tells him is unjust is in reality expressing the highest respect for law. Awesome. Sure, go ahead.
Another thing that I think was really interesting is that he says that even if a law is unjust and you have to break it, you still have to be willing to accept the punishment that the law gives for breaking that unjust law. I guess that's. I think that's kind of interesting.
Yes, absolutely. So he definitely advocates for breaking unjust laws. Yes. Thank you. All right. So, what about the second one? King writes, shallow understanding from people of goodwill is more frustrating than absolute understanding from people of ill will. Lukewarm acceptance is much more bewildering than outright rejection. What does he mean by this? Good. Okay. So people who are openly opposed, you can openly oppose them too. Being devoted to one side, good or bad, is better than being neutral. Yes, yes. And in that letter, he was calling out moderates, um, those people that were basically neutral or were sympathetic to the segregationist side. So he's calling them out here. Right.
It's like he says that those people who just a little bit accept it, they don't help you. The people who oppose it, they can help because they're going to do things that are going to ruin their publicity, maybe. On like a more practical level, they are going to arrest people or whatever, and it's going to gain publicity for the movement for opposing them. And then people who are just kind of for equal rights, but they're not doing anything to help, they are just kind of not helping in any way, and they're technically on your side, but they're not going to help you if you need it.
Right. Absolutely. Right, because it doesn't affect them. If you are a good person but you do not stand up to bad things, it is almost worse than being a bad person who continues to do bad things. Right. So those people, yeah, so those people who were silent about, the things that were going on, he was saying, you may agree with us, but you're silent, so you're worse than those people who are outspoken and on the other side of the issue. So good. Great, you guys. Thank you so much. All right, so we're at 12:58. Um, I'm going to go ahead and leave it at that. Let's see, hold on. So those who are against are at least trying to do what they think is right. Right. Yes, definitely. This is a really great discussion. Thank you guys so much for participating today. That's it. If you have any questions, you are free to stick around. If not, you are free to go. And I will see you guys next week. Thank you.
I had a question. I think it was in our calendar where we were supposed to have like an assignment, like a
Mhm.
written assignment, and I didn't get to that yet, but I wasn't sure if it was going to be like an actual long term project, like an essay, or what was it going to be?
The assignment that is due today.
Yeah, I think so. I didn't get to it yet, but I wanted to ask about that.
So I'm not sure what you mean by long-term assignment
Well,
because it's today.
like a, like a longer one.
Oh, okay,
Um,
okay. So it is a written assignment. It's a persuasive letter. So it is going to take you some time because it's, a letter.
so am I supposed to start it today and finish it today, or
Well, it is due today, so it would have been great if you started and finish it today. But if you can't finish it today, then you have until Thursday night, I guess, Friday morning before temporary zero is entered, but then you have until March 24th until permanent zero. So definitely start it today if you can, but know that you have time to finish it.
okay? Thank you.
You're
Have a good
welcome.
day.
You too. So I'm not grading. I see the question in the chat, Alika. I'm not grading on word count. However, it should definitely have the components of a persuasive letter. and it should definitely be organized in, paragraph format. So you want to write about 4 to 5 paragraphs, um, approximately a page or two, and definitely have those persuasive appeals. So you have ethos, pathos, and logos in there. So the first thing you want to do is identify your audience, and that would be based on your particular topic. So whatever your topic is, who you're writing to is your audience. So you would address it to those particular people.
Um, like, do I just address it to the people who disagree with my argument?
You can, if that's your argument, if that's your audience, if you are trying to persuade those people who disagree, then address it to them. But I would be a little bit specific, not just like, dear those that oppose me. So call them out by group name, I guess.
Okay, so I think I'm writing about like countries who ban abortion. So should I address it to um the the specific government of those countries, or just like people who um oppose abortions in general?
Okay, so if you're writing to, are we talking about, you said specific countries?
I'm not sure if that's I don't know. It just says any argument, so that's just what I chose. Is that okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so can I just say people who disagree?
Yeah, you can say, for instance, those who are opposed to abortions. Dear those people that are opposed to abortions. Or if you're writing to a specific um, government, or you're addressing lawmakers, then you would say, dear lawmakers who oppose abortion. So it's, try to narrow it down just a little, but you can definitely keep it, I guess, not too specific, but not too broad in your.
Okay, so it's like a letter. It's not like an essay. So do I just do I have to start it with dear something?
I mean, you should. It doesn't have to be dear. It can just be like, to those who.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Great question.
Bye.
Bye. Um, and for those who are watching the recording, for participation credit, complete the CC participation form and write a response to at least one of the discussion questions posed today. Thank you.